Today we'll be talking about the world-renowned confessional poet Sylvia Plath. Sylvia Plath was born in Boston, Massachusetts on October 27th in 1932.
Her father, Otto, was a bee expert. She wrote her first poem when she was 8, which is the same year that her father died. And she continued to grow up with her mother, who she seemed to have a confusing relationship that was surrounded by both good and bad experiences. But the trauma of her father's death would follow her for the rest of her life and be a large topic within her poem.
Is it time for the mystery box?
I think so.
Today in the mystery box, we have a custom-made bee mug that resembles Sylvia Plath's father, Otto, who was a bee expert himself. So now I'm going to show you this, one of her bee poems called The Arrival of the Bee Box. The Arrival of the Bee Box. I ordered this clean wood box, square as a chair and almost too heavy to lift. I would say it was the coffin of a midget, or a square baby, were there not such a din in it. The box is locked. It is dangerous. I have to live with it overnight, and I can't keep away from it. There are no windows, so I can't see what is in there. There is only a little grid, no exit. I put my eye to the grid. It is dark, dark, with the swarmy feeling of African hands. Minute and shrunk for export, black on black, angrily clambering. How can I let them out? It is the noise that appalls me most of all. The unintelligible syllables. It is like a Roman mob, small, taken one by one, but my God, together. I lay my ear to furious Latin. I am no Caesar. I have simply ordered a box of maniacs. They can be sent back. They can die. I need to feed them nothing. I am the owner. I wonder how hungry they are. I wonder if they would forget me, if I just undid the locks and stood back and turned into a tree. There is the laburnum, its blonde colonnades, and the petticoats of the cherry. They might ignore me immediately, in my moon suit and the funeral veil. I am no source of honey, so why should they turn on me? Tomorrow I will be sweet, God. I will set them free. The box is only temporary.
The entire poem is a metaphor for the chaotic thoughts going inside her head.
She describes the lack of control she has for whatever is inside the box. The audience is left to infer that the box is full of bees buzzing and swarming around inside. But the bees kind of resemble the internal thoughts she is fighting. Her own thoughts are described as swarmy maniacs, deep blackness, and angry. Yet she also describes how she doesn't need to feed into those dark thoughts, and the box itself is only temporary. Is what exactly she said at the end, and this can be interpreted as hope that the dark thoughts will end and she'll be free from them soon. Or it could also be interpreted that life or the mind itself is only temporary, which would also correlate with the severe depression she suffered throughout her life.
Her work was excelling in high school, and it was getting recognized and even a few published. In 1952, she was selected to be featured in Mademoiselle's magazine, and later was a featured editor. Upon all her writing, she grew up suffering from severe depression. In 1953, she first attempted suicide by taking sleeping pills underneath her house. Luckily, her mom found her alive and then sent her to a psychiatric care for 6 months undergoing electric shock therapy. Eventually, she was treated properly at a private hospital and finally can return for schooling. She graduated from Smith College in 1955 with the highest honors. On a full-ride scholarship, she then went to Cambridge, where she met Ted Hughes. Although while alive, his work was more recognized than hers, which contributed to her sense of failure and her degrading self-worth. When they returned to Boston, she became a faculty member at Smith College and eventually became a receptionist at the psych ward she was treated at. Her own life in 1963, while only 30 years old.
She became the first person to ever win a Pulitzer Prize posthumously. Her work is now highly recognized and anything but a failure. And as former American poet Robert Pinsky said, her poems throw off images and phrases with the energy of a runaway horse or a machine with a throttle stuck wide open. Throughout her volumes of works, she embellishes a universal connection with violence, her obsession of death, women empowerment, and the hardships in love. She utilizes enjambment, rhymes, and imagery in her poems to create everyday concepts that are so much more. For example, in the first two stanzas of Cut,
"What a thrill, my thumb instead of an onion, the tip quite gone, except for a sort of a hinge of skin, a flap like a hat, dead white, then that red plush." This poem is about a time when she cut her thumb while cooking. Sylvia Plath is known for taking normal experiences and turning them into something more.
Sylvia Plath sadly took her life too soon. Her poems and her way of expressing emotions through them will live on forever, embodying hope, death, and an underlying theme of power for women. She incorporated her own mental health and state in which she lived most of her life, connecting with people for decades to come.